Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know, first off, welcome to Secretary of Shade. My name is DDM. If you are just tuning in, you can follow me online at Dapper Dan Midas. We also have a TikTok. We have a TikTok now for Secretary of Shade. If you go on TikTok, make sure you follow us at Secretary of Shade, TikTok Secretary of Shade. And you can also follow us there if you want to contribute to the channel. You can do that via Super Chat or via Cash App or Venmo at Dapper Dan Midas. Now, you know, sometimes I have to really research, right? And I always do my research, y'all know that. But I have to like comb through stories to figure out what I'm really going to talk about in these meetings and kind of decipher what's important versus what's noise. And then there are some times where I don't have to do anything. I literally just had to turn on my television or my satellite radio and the show writes itself. Today, the show wrote itself. Like, I literally have to do nothing, okay? I have to do nothing, okay, at all. My God. Okay, so a lot of you have already messaged me today about this. I was watching it on live. The timeline on social media has been roasting the National Association of Black Journalists. So in case you've been under a rock or you've been at work or you've been watching the Olympics, bitch, the National Association of Business Journalists, of Black Journalists, I'm sorry, National Association of Black Journalists, let me get it right, invited Trump to a panel discussion. Okay. When I say dumpster fire, dumpster fire. Now, here's the thing. I want to read some background on this because I think it's very important, right? So, and I got this is coming from the Daily Beast. So, the National Association of Black Journalists, NABJ, okay, declined a request by Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign to appear at this year's convention, a source familiar with the plans told the Daily Beast. The news, first reported by the Griot, came hours after Karen Attiah, a co-chair of this year's NABJ convention, stepped down after the organization announced Donald Trump would appear for a moderated conversation at the Chicago event. The Trump conversation focused on the most pressing issues facing the Black community. Okay? Harris could not speak in person at the convention due to logistical reasons, including the funeral of Representative Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas and finalizing a vice presidential nominee, the source said. She offered to appear for a virtual fireside chat during the convention or an in-person convention at a later date, but the convention's organizers declined. NABJ did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Now, here's the thing. It's buffering. Are you guys there? Saying this live. Is everybody there? Are we good? Here's the thing. Okay. Sometimes we walk into the mess. We walk into it. And when someone is offering something to you and they have a valid reason, like this lady is in the middle of running a campaign that oh, we good. Okay, good. This lady is in the middle of running a campaign. Okay. She is trying to pick a VP. All right. She's also trying to pay respects to a colleague of hers. Okay. And can you guys hear me still? It's good on Facebook. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up in the chat. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. You have someone who is scrambling to try to do something last minute after we all said that Joe Biden needs to drop out of the race. We all said that Joe Biden needs to, a lot of people said that Joe Biden needs to drop out of the race. Okay. And now you have this lady trying to pick up the pieces and put together a campaign that, for all intents and purposes, is going well for what the circumstances are, right? And you deny her. And you invite Donald Trump, and Donald Trump embarrasses you. Okay? He embarrasses you. Not only was he late coming out, but he was rude, did not really answer questions directly, and basically gave you the response of, I said what I said. He said some very problematic things about Kamala now wanting to be black and all this stuff. And you know, I personally have a problem with people who are constantly saying what black is and what blackness is supposed to be, because black people are a lot of things. They're not one thing. And there are black people all over this world, from different parts of the world, from different parts of the diaspora, with different lived experiences. And I don't like when other black people say that. It really gets under my skin when you have old white men saying that. And I think that it is really sad, but I hope that the National Association of Black Journalists takes this as a lesson, a learning lesson, and recalibrates. Because it made them look foolish. And I know you had several black journalists who were not at the convention, who were working, who kind of blasted them. I know Roland Martin was one of them. And I just find it hard because sometimes, especially in the black community, we don't always help ourselves. You know, like it just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense to me at all. And when I researched this and found out that, you know, what happened with the Kamala Harris situation and why they wouldn't allow her to do virtual and things like that, I just was like, you know what? And I say this with love. You deserve what you get. You reap what you sow. And now they're the laughing stock of political Twitter, political social media. It's on televised news. And yeah, Trump looks bad, but what does that mean? Because he don't really care if he looks a certain way. He doesn't care. So this isn't a loss for him by any means. So I hope that moving forward, we give each other a little bit more grace. And also to stop worrying about how we look to other people. And really focus on the right things. Okay. Yeah. So that train wreck happened. But then on top of that, you have his vice presidential running mate, J.D. Vance, going against single people. According to J.D. Vance, single people don't have a say about nothing in this country. Now, I personally took offense to this. He said that most of the leaders in this country are single and they're like deranged. Let's read some of the foolishness that he said. The fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, don't have children don't have children. Don't have children in an appearance on a conservative podcast in November 2020, claiming that almost always the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home. And my thing is this. I'm going to be very frank, right? And I'm not sure what's going on with the buffering, guys. It'll be available on replay. I'll upload it, but I'm still going to tape. For those of you who can watch, thanks for tuning in. If you can't, it'll be available on a replay. But my thing is this. I don't get a child tax credit. Okay? I don't get the write-off daycare. I don't get bonding leave. Because with some jobs, they pay the bonding leave. Like some companies have paid bonding leave. Maternity leave is a benefit. I don't get any of that as a single person. But I can tell you this, I get taxed to high hell. Every year, I got to pay the IRS money. No matter what tax deductions I take or what I write off. But you're telling me that I should not have a say in government because I don't have children. I'm happy for people to have kids. If that's something that you desire to do, more power to you. But I don't want children. I don't not like children. I actually like children. I just don't want them. Because I know they're expensive. But that's a decision that we make. Now, the funny thing is, J.D. Vance, if you were really concerned about people with children being able to afford their children, being able to pay for daycare and, families not having to leave their children, mothers being able to work, stay at home, or fathers being able to stay at home, you would be working on more legislation for that. But you're not. You're not doing that. And my thing is this. I don't want to offend people who are raising families because I applaud you. But whether it was at work when I worked in corporate America or at certain social events. I didn't choose to have those kids. You did. Okay? So I'm not going to plan my life, my day, my political agendas solely around children. I'm not. That is why there's a meeting of the minds. That is why there are equal parties. This is why we have a republic where people from all ethnicities, social climates, ethnic backgrounds come together and calibrate and collaborate on policy and legislation. This is the problem that I'm having, is that people want things to tip to one side or the other and not balance that boat. And I'm going to tell you, I am a liberal. But I don't think that we should have 100% liberal policy. Just like I don't think there should be 100% conservative policy. I think there's a reason why there's a right and a left. It's a reason why we have a right hand and a left hand. It's a reason for that. And when we lose sight of that, we all lose. Now, no shade to you, JD Vance, but you lucky somebody even wanted to have children with you. I don't like to go after nobody's looks, but you definitely ain't the first one that I'm swiping on Tinder or Grindr. I'm not sending you a message. Now, there's somebody for everybody. And maybe you look good when you was in your 20s. You don't look bad now. But you ain't Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, bitch. So you should be lucky that somebody even wanted to have kids with your ass. Okay? So simmer down. Now, in other news, and I found this interesting. So, we've been talking about Project 2025. I got a special coming out about that, and I got some big news that's going to be coming in the next week or two before the Democratic National Convention. But we've been talking about Project 2025 lightly. You know, we've all heard about Project 2025. I've been actually reading through the plan over the last few weeks just to get well versed in it so that I can speak to it. But in an interesting turn of events, the director of Project 2025 quit. So let's take a look at this. So, Paul Dans, who directed the Heritage Foundation's controversial 2025 Presidential Transition Project, or Project 2025, and this is coming from Politico, is stepping down from his role in August, according to an internal email to staff. Dan's departure does not mean the project, which has been repeatedly criticized by Democrats as well as Donald Trump, is shutting down. The work of Project 2025, which includes policy and personnel prescriptions for a Republican administration, will continue, according to a person familiar with the project who was granted anonymity to discuss the matter. However, the person said that the goal of Project 2025 was also always to have their work done by the time of the Republican National Convention, which ended in mid-July. Sounds like to me shit's getting too hot in the kitchen. And I feel like he wants to make an exit before he gets too well known, because when you do things like that, they have consequences socially. Okay? Writing a document like that, which is so extreme, you could become a pariah. Some people may not want to do business with you. You may not get certain opportunities. So it sounds like he just wanted to leave before shit got hot and he was too tired to it. But here's the thing, sir. The damage is already done. The damage is already done. We already know about it. We already know how shady it is. We already fighting against it. And now we know who you are, Mr. Dans, Paul, Mr. 2025. We know who you are. It's no getting around it. So, with Project 2025, and like I said, I have a special, and that special will actually be audio. So look out for that. It's going to be an in-depth audio podcast for Project 2025. And I can't wait to tell you who that's going to be with. But long story short, we already know you're stepping down. You're trying to dodge a bullet. Whatever. You're caught. Now, final story of the day. Kamala Harris had a rally yesterday. Okay? She had a rally yesterday. And it was in Georgia. And she was talking her shit. And Megan Thee Stallion was there. And I think it was pretty good. Georgia's a battleground state. She's trying to get it back. Okay? She's trying to get it back. Now, I saw on social media, and this is what I say about black people, we be so worried about what people think of us that we lose sight of shit sometimes. And, there was some backlash about Megan Thee Stallion and her performing and she twerked there and all of that. Have y'all seen a Donald Trump rally? This is letting me know that y'all not keeping up. Y'all not watching the news. Like, do you see his rallies and what they look like? And you worried about Megan Thee Stallion performing and twerking? Like, really? That's what we doing? Y'all gonna debate that to death? Like, come on with the bullshit. I don't think that this lady is the most perfect candidate ever. I don't. But it's better than my alternative. Especially after seeing how he carried on today. I challenge my people. I challenge my people to question, why are we so obsessed? And I'm gonna go off the deep end. Why are we so obsessed with what white people think about us? Because they're not worried about what we think about them. Why are we so obsessed with that? And the thing is, part of me understands why. Historically, I understand why. I don't want to appear clueless to that. But it's 2024. And we're still walking around looking at ourselves through the lens of our ancestors in the civil rights movement and earlier. Like, it's time to move on from that. You see all of this foolishness going on at these Trump rallies. You see all of this foolishness that the candidate himself is saying. And you're doing social media rants over Megan Thee Stallion performing at a rally, one rally. and doing a twerk dance? That is your outrage? That was that I'm over it. Okay. Another thing, I'm seeing these memes of Kamala using hot sauce and people saying she trying too hard or this, that, and the third. Like, what kind of black president, what kind of black person do y'all want? Because, like I said at the top of this broadcast, black is not a monolith. It looks a lot different now. We still looking at black from 1965. Not realizing that globalization, we all have access to different things now through the internet. The generation leading now is a generation of first-time college graduates and people who have different lived world experience. So it's not going to look like our grandmothers. It's not going to look like our aunties. But we have to be comfortable with ourselves and say, you know what? That's that person. That's that bag. We still walking around thinking that every black person is a representative of every black person. And that goes both ways, right? But just because this black person thinks that way doesn't mean that black person thinks that way. Doesn't mean this black person thinks that way. But they should all be allowed to live and should all be embraced by their culture and their people. Now, I'm not saying that you have to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not saying that you can't vote for Donald Trump. But let it be about policy, quality of life, proof of works. Because you know what? You'll be the same person at your job when you get passed over for a promotion that you was qualified for. You'll be the first one in HR saying, my supervisor just ain't like me. You'll be the first one doing it. Oh, that manager, ever since I came here, she just got a problem with me. Because that's how you sound right now. Everybody has these conspiracy theories. Everybody has this insight. But I'm not seeing a lot of people actually researching records, looking at the local news from these jurisdictions that these candidates are coming from. Because y'all will research how much the Olympic team uniforms cost, but you can't research if what is being said about a political candidate that can change your life and impact your quality of life, what their local people said about them. Because everything is easily accessible if you do your research. The internet is a vast place. So I challenge you to look at the facts, look at the policy, look at what the person has done. Now, I did a whole video on Kamala Harris, her record, where she came from, took a look at the stats, if you don't want to do the research. And as I always say, don't take my word for it, God damn it. Do your own looking. But be better. Be better. You don't have to personally like that lady, but it's a lot of people that I don't like that I have worked with and I've paid and got a check. And I did it because they could do the job. Now, do you want somebody who's going to be able to do the job? Or do you want somebody who, they crack me up? I always use this example. Naomi Campbell did not have the best reputation as being the nice girl The girl next door modeling, but she's been booked almost all of her adult life because she knows how to do the job and she's going to deliver every time. That's what I'm looking for. I don't care what kind of hot sauce you use. I don't care if your husband is white. I don't care if you went to a HBCU, but then you moved to. I don't care about none of that. Can you do the job? And when I look at record, when I look at aptitude, Kamala Harris is qualified to do this job. She's actually more than qualified. But you're willing to hitch your wagon to a first-time senator who's only served for a year and a half and a president who's been convicted of felonies, and when he was in office, it was a goddamn train wreck and you couldn't barely go to sleep at night. But that's who you want to hitch your wagon to. Let's be smart, people. And on that note, I'm gonna wish you the best. Now, remember you can follow me online at Dapper Damitis. Don't forget to follow the Secretary of Shade TikTok. Just go on TikTok, type in Secretary of Shade, and you'll be able to follow, see little tidbits from the show and things of that nature. That being said, I want everybody to have a great evening. If you're into wrestling, make sure you tune into me at Black Wrestling Podcast. We air every Thursday at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Although I won't be on there tomorrow because I'm going to see Missy Elliott again here in Baltimore. But everybody have a great evening. As always, it's been a pleasure. And I will see you all soon. Bye.